For the first few years of our marriage, everything felt perfect. We were best friends, lovers, partners in every sense. Every night, we talked, laughed, sometimes argued, but we always ended the day close, physically and emotionally. Then things started to shift. At first, it was subtle. A yawn at bedtime, a quiet, "Not tonight. I'm tired." I understood life was demanding. Jobs, bills, responsibilities that never seemed to end. But as months passed, her word became a nightly refrain. "I'm just tired." I kept trying. I tried making her laugh more, helping around the house, giving her space to unwind. I hoped that easing her day might lighten her nights, but nothing changed. I reached for her hand, and she pulled away. I leaned in for a good night kiss, and she turned her head. At first, it hurt. Then I pretended it didn't. I stopped asking for affection, stopped expecting closeness, stopped reaching out. We still lived together. We still shared meals and the occasional weekend plan. But something had cracked quietly between us, and neither of us spoke of it. I remember one night, sitting on the couch watching an old movie while she went to bed early, claiming she was tired. I didn't even glance up from the screen. That was the first night I didn't follow her to bed. Then more nights like that came, and eventually, real conversation stopped. Our words were about groceries, laundry, schedules, never about feelings, never about us. And every night, the same refrain, "I'm just tired." Gradually, I started sleeping on the couch permanently, not from fights, but because it felt easier, safer. I told myself it was temporary. Maybe she'd notice, miss me, ask questions. She didn't. We became two polite roommates sharing a life that had once felt magical, never talking about the distance growing between us. One night, she walked into the living room as I was shutting off the TV. "Why don't you come to bed anymore?" she asked. I looked at her, unsure whether to laugh or cry. "Because you were always tired." She blinked, confused at first. Then something shifted in her eyes, like she finally understood, but she stayed quiet. A few days later, she tried. She asked about my day again, touched my arm as she passed in the kitchen. I noticed, but I was afraid to hope. One night, she came out in one of those old pajamas I loved, curled up next to me on the couch, and whispered, "I miss us." I looked at her, really looked. She was still beautiful, still the woman I had chosen. But I couldn't ignore the ache in my chest, the distance she had helped build. "I miss us too," I said for a long time. Eventually, I stopped missing. I just adjusted. Tears filled her eyes, but I didn't reach to wipe them. We sat in silence, wrapped in memories and regret. She tried more after that, planning date nights, leaving notes on the fridge, even suggesting counseling. I agreed, though part of me remained guarded. She confessed she hadn't realized how far we drifted until I stopped trying. "I thought you'd always be there," she said. The therapist asked me how that made me feel. I told her I felt invisible. She cried again. This time, I held her hand, because despite everything, I still loved her. But love isn't a one-person job. We worked slowly, carefully. Some nights she still said she was tired, but now she added, "But I still want to hold you." And that made all the difference. Rebuilding was painful. It wasn't cinematic. No dramatic reunions, no fireworks, just two people learning how to be close again. Some days I wanted to give up. Some days she did. But we kept showing up. Almost a year later, one evening across the dinner table, she looked at me and said, "Thank you for giving me another chance." I smiled, not because everything was perfect, but because it was honest. Thank you for noticing before it was too late. We still had work ahead of us, and we would always have to choose each other. But we weren't tired anymore, not in a way that kept us apart. We were tired of pretending, tired of silence, tired of almost losing something we both still wanted. And that was the beginning of something new, something worth staying awake for.